At last, with this rare candy, I will finally evolve. Not will I just become a bigger version of myself or grow an extra body like this stupid person over here. I will evolve into an epic legendary Pokemon so I can finally defeat Mewtwo, my lifelong rival. It is time. This. What is going on, guys? This is Dobbs here, bringing you another Pokemon video. And in this video, I'm gonna go over 10 Pokemon that you don't want to evolve. Like this giant furry here. When you evolve it, it becomes a 6-foot tall Pokemon. It just gets too big. If only I kept it as a small little precious Centret. So cute. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and without further ado, let's do this. The first Pokemon you wouldn't want to evolve is Mienfoo, the undisputed GOAT of the Little Cup League. And I'm not kidding, because since its debut in Generation 5, Mienfoo has been the most dominant Pokemon in every format of Little Cup that exists. And here's why. What makes it the best is probably its Regenerator ability, an ability that restores a third of the user's health every time they swap out. And when you pair that with moves like U-turn and Fake Out, it just never stops. It keeps coming in, chipping away, healing up, and it never loses momentum, especially in the Little Cup League. And speaking of its moveset is nearly perfect because it gets moves like Knockoff, U-turn, Fake Out, Taunt, and even High Jump Kick. For Knockoff, it is huge because it takes away items like Eviolite, Berry Juice, and Focus Sash, which are all super common in this format. For U-turn, it lets it pivot out, heal with Regenerator, and resets its Fake Out over and over again, becoming a very annoying Pokemon. Fake Out is great for chip damage, but it's also handy because it stops items like Berry Juice and Focus Sash from activating. And High Jump Kick, if you want to run his other ability Reckless, it powers up moves with recoil damage even more, turning Mienfoo into a straight up sweeper. Like, this is live footage of Mienfoo becoming a broom. It just does everything. It's bulky, it's fast, it hits hard, and even supports the team. It even checks some of the biggest threats in the format, like Pawniard, Onix, and yes, even Volibite. It is literally the perfect Pokemon for Little Cup, and that is why it's the undisputed GOAT. And honestly, evolving into Mienshao just makes it worse. Sure, it gets better stats and maybe a couple of new moves, but it loses the ability to hold Eviolite, the entire reason why Mienfoo is so good in the first place. And let's be real, Mienshao's never come close to dominating any higher format like Mienfoo has with Little Cup. Mienfoo is literally the face of the Little Cup League. It is that good. So when it comes to competitive Pokemon, you do not want to evolve Mienfoo. It has been the face of the Little Cup League since its inception in Generation 5, and it's consistently been the top Pokemon since then. It is just too good. The next Pokemon you wouldn't want to evolve is Sunkern. Yes, the Pokemon that held the title for the lowest base total in Pokemon for 20 years, until Wishiwachi came around and took the crown. And here's why you wouldn't want to evolve this pathetic Pokemon. Trust me, don't do it. In Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, there's a minigame called the Pokeathlon, where your Pokemon compete in 5 events that test their speed, power, skill, stamina, and jump, just like a real-life triathlon. And believe it or not, Sunkern, for some reason, is actually the best Pokemon to use in the Pokeathlon. It literally rivals legendary Pokemon like Giratina, Mew, and the god of all Pokemon, Arceus itself in this contest. Because Sunkern has a perfect 5-star rating in all 5 events, making it the ultimate Pokeathlon athlete. And here's the weirdest part. If you evolve Sunkern into Sunflora, it actually gets worse in the Pokeathlon. Its perfect 25-star total drops all the way down to just 18 stars, with only 2 max stats instead of 5. So evolving it makes it a worse athlete for some reason. Maybe those Sunstones are making Sunflora fat or something. So if you want to bring the Rocky Balboa of Pokemon to the Pokeathlon, you do not want to evolve Sunkern, because with this little seed, you can literally rival the god of Pokemon in this contest, which is pretty hilarious. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about Pokemon that you wouldn't want to evolve for a completely different reason. And that would be Pokemon that literally die when they evolve. For example, Primeape. According to his son Dex entry, it's been known to get so angry that it dies as a result. Its face even looks peaceful in death, which actually came true in Scarlet and Violet when they gave it the Annihilate evolution, turning it into a ghost type, meaning that it literally dies from rage and evolving. Another Pokemon is Paris. According to multiple Dex entries for this Pokemon, a host parasite pair in which the parasite mushroom has taken over the host bug, or the bug host is drained of energy by the mushrooms on his back. They appear to do all of the thinking, which basically means this little lobster we know as Paris right here is actually dead, and the mushroom on his back is what Parasect really is. And the crazy part is that this is actually based on a real-life fungus that takes over the ant's brain and sprout on their heads. Yeah, just look at this. This is a real-life zombie you see here, where a parasitic mushroom has taken over the body of an ant. It's just nightmare fuel. And this is what happens when Paris evolves into Parasect. And then you have Pokemon like Nakata, which evolves into Ninjask, but the leftover shedded skin actually comes to life as Shedinja, which is literally an undead soul-eating monster, because it has several dex entries that say a discarded bug shell that came to life, appearing to the crack on his back instead of steal one spirit, which is something you definitely don't want to deal with when evolving this cute little bug Pokemon here. Like, dang, that's pretty savage. And of course, you have Pokemon like Marowak, who are just doomed to die due to the lore with Cubone. And don't get me started with Mega Pokemon, who are all suffering in a painful reality when they Mega Evolve. Like Glalie, for instance, who breaks its jaw, or Mega Scizor, whose body is literally melting inside his steel armor, or even poor Mega Slowbro here, who is being eaten alive by Shelder. Just look at his face. He is suffering, I think. So yeah, all of these Pokemon you do not want to evolve because they literally die or be eaten alive like the Slowbro here. Alright, let's step back into competitive and talk about another Pokemon you wouldn't want to evolve, which is Murkrow. In the recent competitive scene, Murkrow is actually one of the best support Pokemon in VGC, and it's all thanks to his Prankster ability. The ability Prankster gives a +1 priority to status moves like Tailwind, Haze, Taunt, and Quash, letting it move before most Pokemon, even faster Pokemon, even while Murkrow is slower. And when you pair this with Eviolite, Murkrow actually becomes pretty bulky for a support Pokemon, letting it survive on the field for a lot longer than you would think. And with this toolset, Murkrow can set up Tailwind to double your team's speed, use his Haze to wipe out enemy stat boosts, or even use Taunt to shut down setup or stall strategies. And best of all, Murkrow is one of the best counters to the Dondozo and Tatsugiri combo, because his priority Haze will shut down Tatsugiri's commander ability, which boosts all of Dondozo's stats by +2, which basically shuts down the entire strategy, since Tatsugiri is stuck in Dondozo's mouth and becomes unusable until it faints. On top of that, a Prankster Haze Murkrow can also clear the special attack drops from Goldango's Make It Rain move, allowing you to keep spamming it at full power and continue to snowball with Goldango. And even though Murkrow has fallen off slightly in the later series, it's still one of the easiest and safest Tailwind setters in the game. Plus, Murkrow's dark typing gives it immunity to other Prankster Pokemon, and his flying type makes it immune to ground type attacks, giving it a sneaky defensive value as being a support Pokemon. And fun fact, Murkrow was inspired by a Mafia crew member, while Honchkrow is called the Big Boss Pokemon, fitting the crime boss theme. But as it turns out, the little Mafia grunt Murkrow is actually better than the boss, because Honchkrow loses the Prankster ability when it evolves, effectively making it worse as a support Pokemon, which I guess kind of makes sense because it becomes the boss Pokemon, so it doesn't need to support anybody but himself, I guess. But anyways, this is why you wouldn't want to evolve Murkrow for competitive value. It's one of the best Prankster Pokemon out there to use. Alright, let's talk about something more niche, and I mean like very niche. A Pokemon in the original Pokemon Snap game that you wouldn't want to evolve, which is Growlithe. You see, at the end of the volcano stage, there are 3 lava vents that have a 2 out of 3 chance of spawning a Growlithe when you throw a Pester Ball inside of them. And if you're going for a world record score of over 6,000 points, you actually need to spawn 3 Growlithe from these lava vents and not have them evolve, which only has about a 30% chance of happening, since Arcanine can spawn 1 out of 3 times and ruin the setup with the Growlithe evolving into it. But here's the crazy part. Snapping all 3 Growlithe at maximum size while they're shaking off the lava from the vents actually gives you a higher score than if they were all Arcanine. So this Arcanine is so big, it doesn't fit inside the camera's frame, which actually lowers your score. In fact, this Growlithe picture is one of the highest scoring photos in the entire game, reaching 6,120 points, set by Snapper Fekaterigo, while Arcanine's highest score is only about 5,780 points. So if you want to maximize your score in Pokemon Snap, you actually don't want these Growlithe to evolve into Arcanine, because 3 Growlithe are better than 3 Arcanine, apparently, in this universe. And if you're wondering what other Pokemon beats Growlithe in terms of score, there are only 5 of them in the game, with the 5 being Charmander with 6,520 points, Pikachu riding Articuno with 8,000 points, Jigglypuff Sting with 6,550 points, a Magmar attacking another Magmar for 6,900 points, and of course, the Perfect Mew for 10,000 points. These are the only Pokemon that can outbeat Growlithe in terms of score in the original Pokemon Snap game, and Arcanine could never do that. So yeah, not evolving these Growlithe is a big deal, making them the 6th highest scoring Pokemon in the entire game. It's not worth it. Alright, since we're on the topic of niche, let's talk about something that's very, very niche in Pokemon speedrunning. A Pokemon that you wouldn't want to evolve in Pokemon Gold and Silver, which is Rattata. Because believe it or not, Rattata is actually the best Pokemon to use to beat Pokemon Gold with at the fastest time possible. Yeah, you heard that right. The legendary top percent Rattata is real. And in the Pokemon Gold task speedrun, you surprisingly don't want to evolve Rattata at level 20, but instead level 21, which might be the only time in Pokemon speedrunning history where skipping an evolution is actually faster than not skipping skipping it. Because apparently it's faster to skip the evolution at level 20 because both Rattata and Raticate learn a new move at the same level. So by delaying the evolution to level 21, you're essentially skipping one of the level up moves that Raticate would learn at level 20, making it where you only learn one level up move instead of two, therefore making it faster to skip the evolution and evolve at level 21 instead. Super niche, I know, but I thought it was interesting because this might be the only speedrun in Pokemon history where skipping an evolution saves time, because 9.9 out of 10 times, that would make the run slower. So this top percent Rattata here skipping his evolution at the Komodo Girls is a very, very rare sight. So yeah, if you want to be Pokemon Gold at world record pace, you actually don't want to evolve Rattata right away. And if you didn't know, a task speedrun is a tool-assisted speedrun where every single frame of the game is perfectly manipulated for the best possible outcome, basically making it humanly impossible to beat without the tool. But still, I thought this was pretty interesting. Next up, we have a Pokemon that you wouldn't want to evolve because of how hard it would be in the Pokemon world, which is Metagross. Now, we all know in the game that Metagross simply evolves at level 45, which really isn't that hard to do. It's actually pretty easy to do for a pseudo-legendary Pokemon. But in the actual lore of Pokemon, getting a Metagross is way harder than you think, like way harder. Because just look at these dex entries for Metang and Metagross. When two Beldum fuse together, Metang is formed, and Metagross is the result of two Metang achieving fusion, which basically means it takes 8 Beldum fusing together to create one Metagross in the Pokemon world. And if you didn't know, Beldum is the hardest non-legendary Pokemon to catch in the entire series. It has a catch rate of 3, the same as legendaries like Mewtwo and Rayquaza, making it the only non-legendary Pokemon with this catch rate. It is the hardest regular Pokemon to catch. And on top of that, Beldum is super rare. Even in its original game, you couldn't even find it in the wild. You had to get it as a gift from Steven Stone. And when it is available in other regions, it usually has a super low encounter rate, making it very hard to find, let alone catch. Plus, it only knows takedown, which means it hurts itself with recoil damage every time it attacks. It can knock itself out before you can even catch it. So basically in the Pokemon world, to get one Metagross, you'd have to travel to a different region, find 8 different Beldum, catch them before they knock themselves out, train all 8 of them to level 20 to become a Metang, and then train 2 Metang to level 45 to finally fuse together into one Metagross. An absolute headache of a task. And don't get me started on a shiny Metagross. Good luck finding 8 shiny Beldum, even if you bred them. Pretty much impossible to do in one's lifespan in the Pokemon world. And not to mention there's Mega Metagross, because just listen to this dex entry. This form results from 1 Metagross, 1 Metang, and 2 Beldum linking up. That is 12 Beldum in total. I'm starting to see why Steven Stone is the champion of the Hoenn region, because no one else is crazy enough to go through all of that to just get 1 Metagross. A shiny Metagross, in fact. A shiny Mega Metagross that Steven has in the anime. Oh my god. I have mad respect for Steven Stone now. He had to find 12 shiny Beldum to do that. That's crazy. So yeah, you probably wouldn't want to evolve a Metagross. Okay, on the topic of in-lore Pokemon, another Pokemon that you wouldn't want to evolve is definitely Inkay. Because out of every Pokemon that I know of, Malamar is the only confirmed true evil one that exists. Like actual evil villain type energy evil. Because in the anime episode Facing the Grand Design, 3 highly intelligent and evil Malamar appeared in the Kalos region with the goal of taking over the world. And they use their hypnotic powers to brainwash people in Pokemon, including Officer Jenny and Team Rocket, turning them into mindless servants. And their first plot involved building a massive weapon at a radio observatory to begin their plan for world domination. While of course Ash and his plot armor were able to stop them by destroying the machine. But then they return in another episode a second time and brainwash scientists to build 6 machines that would release waves of energy that would change the entire planet's climate to fit their perfect world at the cost of lives of every living creature but them. But again, they were stopped by Ash's friends and Team Rocket this time and managed to escape into the future with a time machine that they apparently made. So at some point in the future of the anime's timeline, these evil Malamar will come back once again trying to take over the world. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that Inkay is a Pokemon that you do not want to evolve because they'll just go full villain and evil on you. Yeah, that's right, Mermaid Man. It'll go evil on you, especially with decks that say things like, it wields the most compelling hypnotic powers of any Pokemon, and it forces others to do what it wants, which is downright scary, and just in the self, if it's not even evil. This Pokemon literally has the best hypnotic powers and has a tendency of becoming evil. Yeah, do not evolve Inkay. Now let's talk about shiny Pokemon you wouldn't want to evolve, because the shiny colors just get worse. Like shiny Persian, for example. Shiny Meowth has a distinct color with different colored feet, but when it evolves, Persian looks almost identical to its normal form. My precious Persian, man. Like, I love this Pokemon, but its shiny form sucks. The same goes for Gengar, Blizzy, Garchomp, Dugong, Togekiss, Golduck, and even Leafeon and Glaceon, unfortunately. They all lose that unique shine when they evolve. Then you have Pokemon that just randomly turn green, like Poliwrath. I mean, I guess it makes sense because it's based on a frog, but why Jolteon? Its bright yellow fur becomes a weird lime green, almost like it's been rolled in grass for a few hours or something. Oh, and don't get me started on Nidoqueen. The Nido family had this cool thing going where the shinies were the colors of the opposite gender, but shiny Nidoqueen completely ruins it all and becomes green for some reason. It should have looked like this, like a Nidoking. Like, what the heck, Nidoqueen? And a lot of people point to Dragonite as a shiny downgrade too, and I can see why, because shiny Dratini and Dragonair are both this beautiful light pink, all majestic dragon-like, but then it suddenly becomes a green Dragonite, a big fat dragon. But I kind of like it though. I think it works. You have my approval, Dragonite. But what I don't like is shiny Crobat, because Zubat and Golbat actually look great with green colors, but then Crobat just suddenly becomes this pink, weird, hairless cat looking thing. I just don't like it. So yeah, watch out when evolving your shiny Pokemon, because it may not be worth it, and you might regret it. Looking at you, Crobat. And last but not least, a Pokemon that you wouldn't want to evolve is Ditto. Yeah, you heard that right, because back in the original Pokemon Gold and Silver games, Ditto was actually planned to have an evolution called Animon. And just looking at it, it's just pure nightmare fuel. Apparently, Ditto would evolve while holding this metal powdered item, which I guess messes with its DNA and gives it teeth with this perpetual, consistent scream expression. Kind of like that one painting, the Scream. And yeah, maybe it would have been a cool idea, like maybe Animon would have transformed into Steel-type versions of other Pokemon or something. But with that face, it would have been just straight up nightmare fuel for all the kids that played Pokemon in the 90s. Like, god dang, man. From a cute, lovable Ditto to this. So yeah, you don't want to evolve Ditto, even if you could. It may scare you. But yeah, there you go. That is 10 Pokemon that you wouldn't want to evolve. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to see more of these type of videos, because it's been a while since I made a top 10. And if you want to watch more top 10 videos, here is a giant playlist of them from all the videos that I made in my entire career that have numbers in them. Or if you want to watch something a little different, watch my What If Starter Pokemon Out of 4 stage video right here. And be sure to subscribe.